Nexxlegacy, where the stories come alive. Voices of the culture, keeping dreams alive. Tune in, lock in, feel the vibe worldwide. This is the Nexxlegacy podcast.
Just that effort that I've talked about, and I want to welcome Miss Bri Cooper in the house tonight on the AM Buzz. Bri, how you doing, sweetheart?
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for that nice introduction too.
Hey, I gotta call it like I see it, and I gotta make sure that the world knows exactly how I feel too. And it's not just another interview with you. I mean, welcome back first off, and I see you doing a couple of things different as far as the last time that we've actually had you back on. So right out of the gate, let me ask you about the song we just played. The difference of the sounds that we just heard today. So let the listeners know a little bit the origin about how that song was put together.
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first of all, with the song, I love classical music. I'm a classical singer. I was trained as a classical singer. But I also love all types of music. And when this project came to me, I listened to it, and I really love the idea of everything that I do. I really want to educate the audience as well. So I didn't want to just put music out there that was kind of repetitive and gave, no message. But I wanted to put something out there that would, one, encourage listeners or the audience who's not into classical music to give it a try and to understand that they're all different types of classical music. And there's some that you can relate to quicker, which will help you grow into more educated audience as far as classical music and opera is concerned. And then, I wanted to show the audience that I also can relate to just everybody, that I know that everybody has a deep appreciation for different types of music. And I wanted to make sure that came across. And then as far as the message, I always like to listen to music that makes me feel good after I listen to it. I don't want anything that, makes me feel awful or violent or anything or angry after I listen to it. I always keep that in mind, and I take that very seriously that, whoever is listening to the music, could be a young child, and the radio just happens to be on and the song is on. I still want them to come away with, there is a message. I want them to come away with, gosh, that was nice. That was, I felt good after I heard that. And especially with working with children, sometimes with music where I volunteer, I can really tell a difference with kids, and when they listen to something that maybe their parents had on that was just really inappropriate for their age, and I can just tell. And so people need to understand that everything you listen to it's very important. It can have a message. It could be whatever type of music, but it should have something positive. It should make you feel good. It should make you feel like dancing. It should make you feel like singing. It should make you feel reflected. I don't know what the word. You should feel like you have to reflect upon a situation or something. But that was pretty much it for this one. And then I wanted to definitely do something like with peace. Especially everything that's been happening in the news. And I love, like I said, all kinds of music. And I said, sometimes I think the best way to get to maybe sometimes the more urban, younger generation is to really reach them through the type of music that sometimes they listen to. And there is a great artist that I happen to hear, and his name is Carlito, who's also on the track. And I was just like, wow, he has an interesting voice. And I just contacted him and asked him what he thought, and he loved it. And he's like, immediately I just think of, like, peace. So we definitely talked a long time about that and the importance of it and how we're going to try to blend the two so it sounds just so cohesive, like it was meant to be together. And he came up with this really, really great, the lyrics to it, and it's just basically talking about peace and how we have to promote peace and how everything you do, it's not really, you have to think about every situation in your life. It should be led by love and by peace. you know?
Mhm.
And so everything, in so many situations, especially that these younger kids are getting into, you know, they have to really think about what is going to be the peaceful solution. Because under all that anger is love, you know?
Right.
So that's basically, you know, the message. And I really loved the final product when I heard it, because I also like to, you know, I like to have a good time like the next person. So I don't want people thinking that I'm all strictly opera and, oh, she doesn't do anything. No.
Right.
So through
Right.
this music, you can get a little bit of my personality as well.
And one thing that I've always taken from your personality, the times that we talked, was the fact that you can adapt to, you know, different things, not just musically, but just, you know, life things. I mean, you can put yourself in a situation, and, you know, like you said, extremely positive when it comes to trying to get the best out of a situation or a person or a conversation. I kind of took those things away with you. So let me ask you this question, because you was talking about just, you know, you don't want to walk away from a song feeling angry or a certain way. And we both know, I mean, and I think the listeners know too, that music is that food for the soul. You're supposed to, it's supposed to happen that way.
Right.
As far as how you feel about music, as far as, you know, you got to think about it. It's a talent. It's a God-given talent. It's something that, you know, you have within us that you're sharing with everybody. So my question to you is, how did it get to that point where it seems like a lot of the people out there who listens continues to be angry, even though songs are food for the soul?
Right. Right. And like I said, you know, it just goes to really understanding that part. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people think, oh, I hear some music and the beat sounds good, but really how is it making you feel? And a lot of people don't think that music is a universal language. Music heals. That's why there's music therapy. So if you really take it, like, you have to teach your children and show them what types of music is acceptable, what's unacceptable. Sure, there's a time where you want to have fun, and yes, sometimes music is playing that you didn't approve of, but at the same time you kind of have to go with it. But it's for them to take away to understand the difference between, you know what, that's really inappropriate. You know, I have an 8-year-old, and I've definitely taught her that, you know, and if she hears something that's inappropriate, she definitely either turns the station or she says, you know, it's really inappropriate. Like, she'll tell me sometimes, you know, because I'm not thinking. There are a couple songs that I like to listen to in the car, and she's just like, it's inappropriate. You need to turn it. So I like that idea, and I turn it, but I like that idea of the fact that you have to teach your kids, you have to, everybody you talk to, you have to explain to them that everything that they listen to and goes inside their brain, which is a very powerful tool itself, has to be very healing, you know, in some respects. It should make you feel good. It should have a message. It should be kind of like an anthem. Like, this song is more like an anthem. But it should definitely, you know, it should make you feel that way. So it's hard, but you have to, it goes first by understanding everything you listen to.
Do you feel that, do you feel that some artists take music for granted? The reason why I ask that is because it's more materialistic driven, and it's more, like you said, you know how you just said, as far as, you know, the stuff that, you know, people hear. Like, you don't want to hear have your 8-year-old hear, you know, certain sounds as far as certain different kinds of language, but also there's a language of materialism, you know, as far as, you know, let's put it in the context, like, you know, a lot of cars, a lot of women, a lot of money, a lot of drugs, this, that, and the other. It seemed like it's gotten really rugged, I would say, over the past maybe close to a decade or even a little bit longer than that. So have music, the artists themselves, kind of taking it for granted as far as painting a better picture for our kids?
Yeah, of course. And one of the things with me, for sure, that even with my first CD, that I needed to have some sort of control over it, because, one, you know, my dad came over here from the Bahamas with nothing and made a great life for himself and his kids and his next generation. But at the same time, we were taught kind of the island way, where you work as hard as you can work for the good of everything, for the good of your family, and the materialistic things, you just don't, you know, that comes and goes. You have to understand that. Like, that comes and goes. And if you have it 1 minute and a year later you don't, where's your thought process going to be? You can't be so hooked up into that part of it where you lose who you are because you don't have something materialistic, that you may have worked for but you had to lose. But I also think that with the industry, because a lot of the creative control is outside of the control of the artist, and that so much of the industry is, money-driven, they lose some of that. It becomes very materialistic. It becomes a drive for, let me get your dollar, instead of, we'll produce whatever they want to hear, just give me your money. Mm-hmm. But for me as an artist, I decided to take things the independent route because, money is great, but at the same time, I know that the music that I put out there, I want it to be positive. I want it to relate to people, and, it might take a little longer to find the support, but at the same time, it's important for people to understand that you cannot just, you have to see what the artist is about.
Right.
Sometimes they could be hooked up with a big record label and, maybe they're not producing the music that they would really want as an artist. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's been very important to, one, find a label that will support me and what I want to put out there and how I think it affects the audience. Because, we've talked a long time about how everything I do, I want the audience to learn from it in some way.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
And it's important because that's literally why, the higher power, God, gave me a gift. And it's not just for me to just, open my mouth and sing. It's for me to, it's a big responsibility. I have to make the world better in whatever way I can. So for me, it's through my music and it's through what I put out there because people are going to take something away from that. But it's so true, and I was so happy, like with the last Grammys, that finally, they put a dress code on things. They had to start, it was getting a little raunchy. So I was glad that now the industry is starting to understand, you can wear a shirt and tie. You can do these things because people are looking at you. And that's very, 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 very important, especially for the little kids who, a lot of the kids are just driven by pop culture. They just are. They do what they see on TV. They do what they see in the videos and everything like that. Well, it's important to educate as well as put your music out there. So, yeah, it's hard to get away from that, but people have to be 2 steps ahead. You have to be 2 steps ahead and know what you're buying.
No doubt.
And if you want to
support
a world
company,
where...
Exactly.
No,
in a world where it's dare to be different, I always feel like, especially when it comes to music is so diverse, but actually it should be able to sing the same song as far as creating a picture, expressing yourself via the God-given talent that you have, and and having all that make sense so people can be able to listen to you for the next 50 decades, I would say, So it kind of, it's supposed to have that same kind of track record, but, somehow with a lot of genres out there, it kind of went left or whatnot. And, hopefully we can be able to get it all back and people can be able to get more musically educated so they can be able to pay attention. And I think that's kind of how the fans should be, right? Either the new fan base, right?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm so glad you said that. Really, when you listen to it, it all comes back down to just being educated. And not educated in the sense of, maybe everybody doesn't have the opportunity to go to college, but God gave you brains. You can
Absolutely.
sit down and think about what you want to listen to, what is going to be beneficial to you. I mean, the economy has gone through so many changes over the past, 6, 7 years,
right,
that really what's left is who are we as humans. When everything else goes wrong, what are we going to bring into our lives that's going to be so positive that it's going to get me through the next situation? And that is what I think people need to really understand when they make a choice to buy a song, to buy, it could be an instrumental album, it could be whatever. You have to be educated. You have to empower yourself. What are you going to listen to? What is your mission in life, even as just a person? You know, what do you want to bring into your life? And I'm telling you, it just goes to everything that you put in your life. That's what you're going to get. So if you put positive things in your life, and even music, I mean, it could be, you know, it could be hip-hop, it could be classical. I mean, it brings things into your life. You know, everything you listen to positive, because then you think differently. If you're not listening to angry music, you don't have time to be angry. If you're not listening to music that really, you know, oh, let's be materialistic, let's talk about money all the time, let me get the money, all of that, it's just, ugh. How do you think you're going to act? You're going to act like the same way. And then, you know, it's so, I mean, people have to really, really think about what they're listening to, what they're buying, the artists that they really feel that they can support. You know, everybody might work for a label, but at the same time, there's still the person behind it. And if that person behind it is still putting out pretty decent music that gives at least a reflection as to what they believe in or what they want to do, then that's, you know, that's a step in the right direction. So important.
Exactly. And Bridget Cooper is our guest on the AM Buzz, and but you know, we're going to continue with music, but also I want to ask you a couple of things, because you are an actress and you've been on you know, more than a few as far as television things, as far as being on The Wire, Toyota commercials. You was on you know, a television project, the Washington. How do I pronounce that? The
Washingtonian.
On the end.
Washingtonian. Washingtonian.
That was a Jessica Parker produced program. And I mean, can we say, when it comes to the music part of it, and how we hope we can be more educated, doesn't it play into television and what we look at as well, as far as us as, you know, people, how you see kind of how it fuses together, right? Because we're having the same problem we're having with music, we're having with TV, right?
Yeah. Definitely. And it's sometimes you have to really, really think about, like you said, not only what you listen to, but what you watch. And I will never forget an article I read about the actress Sharon Stone, and I think she had a brain aneurysm, and this was several years ago. But she was talking about how she kind of had to redo everything, relearn everything. And one of the most important things that she learned was that everything that she fed her brain had to be very positive. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was such a profound statement, because it's true. You everything is so fast these days that you get these little teeny messages of it could be violence, it could be, you know, something positive somebody is doing. But everything, if you think about everything that you feed your brain, everything that you look at, those are messages that your brain interprets. So if you try to, yes, we all try to keep up with the news, current events, and everything like that, but, you know, too much of it is not great either. And you see the same thing over and over again. You know, it's important that, you know, yes, I keep up with it. I know what's going on in the world. Okay, I'll watch this news program. That'll fill me in. Read a newspaper. That's always great. And, you know, but as far as, especially with the kids, I mean, your kids can, and the other thing is these parents will use the television as a babysitter, and it's really not. It's really for you to, if you decide, okay, my child's going to watch this show, and I'll leave Janie in the room by herself so she can watch the show so I can do something else, you have to think about, what is your child seeing in that half an hour? If you sit with them one day, you will see a whole lot of stuff. And, you know, my daughter still watches them. She's 8, and she's 8, and she's going into, you know, 3rd grade, but I have had to be, this summer, I finally let her start to watch, like, let's say, Nick instead of Nick Jr. as much, because then I have to start thinking about the situation she's going to be in. You know, I have to start thinking about the programming that's really going to start maybe the conversation of age-appropriate behavior. And I know that, you know, as much as you want to keep your child a baby, I do understand that she's going to be in these situations, and I try to introduce TV shows that, you know, I'll find something on a television show that'll introduce in a friendly way a topic that I think she might be dealing with or going to have to deal with later. And, we'll sit down and watch it. And, it really is a tool. It can be a tool. It can start the introduction, but I'm still sitting there with her because every action that actor or actress does on the television show, people forget there is a consequence. So if they're preteens and let's say the scene is about, I'm going to kiss Johnny the boy or something like that, well, you know what? Your child still has to understand, guess what? There are consequences to that. What do you think would happen if they did that? Do you think that's correct?
Right.
You want to get an idea of where your child's mind is, too.
That's right.
So everything that we watch, and, I don't let her watch TV at all. Like, we got our first television set.
Is that right?
I mean, it's 2 weeks ago. Because then I was just like, I know, we're moving on up. Because she was really like, everybody has a television set. I'm so embarrassed. I was like, I guess I can't take it completely away. I just have to, monitor, So I was telling her, I was like, well, there was one reason we didn't. When you started school, I just didn't want to hear that argument. I didn't want that argument to be there. Oh, let's watch, the one where you didn't finish your homework because you were watching TV, something like that. So I just decided, well, let's just ditch the TV. So I never had a TV. And then when she really got to the point where she's like, okay, this is ridiculous. Let's get with the program.
Come on, Mom.
Like, all right. Exactly. So we finally got one. She was very happy. But there are rules to that, too. I mean, I have to sit with her. I find 2 programs a week. And I have to do my homework. And I look at what programs, what the synopsis of this show is going to be about. And especially like it's Nick or Disney or something like that. Or ABC Family. Some of that's still too old, but, we'll sit and we'll watch it, and then I'll watch it with her, and then I already know that that show is going to spark a conversation, and that's, what we use it for now, because he's getting older. I can't hide her from everything.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I mean, my daughter's 10, and I feel like, a lot of the shows that I know I need to watch. I mean, not only that, just out of curiosity. And some of the shows that I watch with her, I find out that, I like these shows. These shows are pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, as far as, it's because, kids got talent too. And, there's a difference between, not hating on, certain kids shows, but there's some shows that kids, these kids are good.
Yeah.
These kids are really good. So, I always make sure that I let my daughter know at the end of the day, like they're acting, they're displaying their talent,
Right.
and for the most part, she gets kind of inspired by that when she sees. She's not trying to be an actress, but she can tell that it's a job. It's like it's something that they're working towards. They're trying to do more as far as that goes. As far as being movies, she's seen some people that was on one of the kids shows, and now they're in a movie, and she sees that she saw a commercial, and she was like, hey, she's in the movie now. Like, okay, well, okay, that person's moving on up too. So, it kind of has that cycle, but you got to make sure that, kids are educated when it comes to exactly what they're watching and even what they're listening to.
Definitely. And, they're so funny you say that because there's these, sometimes I do like competition shows because I'm very competitive anyway. But then I started, like my daughter's, like I said, she's 8, so now I'm just like, I've got to help her to understand what competition is about, And so sometimes the reality shows are pretty good, like that show The Hero, where, they talk about the whole moral purpose is to the whole purpose of the show, I think, is to have people understand what are you going to do, what are you not going to do for what we were just talking about, materialistic reasons, how much you're going to put up with, how much you're going to push through to achieve a goal without jeopardizing who you are as a person. So we kind of started watching that show because, she's really like, oh, my gosh, they have to do all of this. And I said, yeah, but, you have to understand that life is like this. You have to get through these challenges. And I said, and what are you going to do? Are you going to take something in school that somebody's going to offer you because you think it's going to make you better? It's the same kind of thing, but I had to put it in her language. You know what I mean? So that's the one show, like, we'll sit there and watch together because I do want her to understand what competition is about. I want her to understand that, you have a goal, but, what are you going to do? Well, are you going to take everything that comes along to get to your goal? Are you going to jeopardize who you are as a person? So that's just an interesting, thing that you just brought up, and put her in sports and everything like that.
Indeed,
and I had music,
indeed. And
music was very competitive when I decided to do it.
Yeah, and see what you said earlier too, though, about you sitting down and well, we both did as far as our kids and how we sit down and watch television with them or whatnot. See, that's what I feel like a lot of parents need to do more of, anyways. Just control the environment too, because if you let them just like you said earlier, babysit, let the television babysit your child, or let whatever else babysit your child, that's never good as far as self-development too, because while I'm in the middle of watching something, I'll ask my daughter a question, or I'll make a comment, or she'll do the same thing. And to me, I think that's a good way to communicate with your kids anyway. So I just feel like that's really important.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. You're so intelligent.
Hey, no, I kind of got that inspiration from you too, sweetheart. So that's just
well,
hey,
thank you.
I feed off of that too, because like I said, it's with you and getting back to music, it's really a breath of fresh air when I can be able to take your talents, and a lot of people definitely need to get more into classical music. You being an opera singer and you doing so many different things as far as your hands in the cookie jar, I guess you could say. So a lot of people definitely need to pay attention to what you're doing, because it's a beautiful thing. I mean, anybody that in their right mind should be inspired by what you do. So
Thank you so much. I really appreciate
and you can
That's
follow
really
this.
sweet. Thank you. I'm blushing. Thank you.
And you can follow this young lady on Twitter at Bri Cooper on Twitter. Do it now, because I had to make sure that I did one oversight, and I didn't follow you for whatever reason. And I looked at it this morning. I'm like, what the
I
heck
noticed
did I do?
that.
It was like, wait a minute.
That's okay. I was already there, right? I was on top of it, right? I had
know
already
what?
followed you for a few months now, but we won't go there. That's okay.
So that was an oversight that I corrected.
That's all right. Thank you. Slow walk them. That's all right. My father taught me well.
You people can do it. You know what? But I love you for it, though. Hey, you know what? Hey, I'll call myself out too. So I'm not gonna. No, wait a minute. What are you doing? Like, no way. Like, no, I'm right there with you. Hey, I'll call myself out too, sweetheart. It's all good. It's all good.
Good.
Now, you still, like a lot of people out there that hasn't had a chance to check out Heavenly Grass, the great American art songs, again, it's got rave reviews, and people should definitely go reach out and grab that project that you actually did a fabulous job on, because I did as well. So people can go check it out at iTunes, Amazon, or your website,
yeah,
right?
CD Baby, really. That's the easiest way. You can go to my website, thank you, or CD Baby is just the easiest way. Heavenly Grass, Great American Art Songs. You can look up my name, Bri Cooper. At the time it was Anderson, but we won't talk about that. It's Cooper now. So Bri Cooper Anderson. So don't get confused. It's me, yes. But moving on.
She is really her. That other name we'll discuss in an in-depth interview one of these days down the line, right?
Yeah, it's all good now. It's much better, But so it's fine. But yeah, Bri Cooper.
I might have to sit on the couch for that one. I might have to sit on the couch for that one myself.
Yeah, you might have to.
Too.
Thank God Oprah's off the air. Thank goodness Oprah's off the air, so to speak, not on like network, you know what I mean? Like
right.
with the Oprah show at one point.
Right.
So yeah, so thank goodness that's not on now. But yeah, so we'll leave that there, and let's be positive. And so it was Bri Cooper Anderson, and that's how you find me. But it is Bri Cooper. Okay, let's be clear. Okay.
There you go. And people can pick it up. And again, it's to me, it's always good when you can be able to get yourself out of your box and get out of that box and get into something other
definitely.
than
you have to get out of your comfort zone sometimes.
Absolutely. If you're just fixated on hip hop and R&B, open your mind. Because to me, I love all genres that sound. Anything that sounds good, I don't really care what genre it is. I'm just gonna
Yeah, I
listen
know.
to
I
it
was
and
very
embrace it.
nervous in hearing your feedback. I'm sorry to talk over you. But I was very nervous in hearing your feedback. So I was so glad when you said, I love it. It's awesome. So I was really happy about that. So thank you.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if it's, like I said, if it sounds good, I'm definitely going to give credit where credit's due. And to me, a lot of people definitely need to have their ears open, both ears, not just one, because we don't want it to go through one out the other or it to be closed completely. I just feel like people need to be more open to, different sounds. And, I love everything from rock to classical music to, to hip-hop and R&B and to jazz and all that stuff. You got to have an open ear and definitely listen to Bri Cooper. We'll do it.
Thank you. And if anyone's, any of you are trying to get into opera, like I have a few followers now that are like, I'm in the recent issue of Black Enterprise magazine talking about opera. And I've had a lot of followers talk about, oh, my goodness, I never followed it or even thought about, getting into it until I saw your article. But if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know that I try to incorporate everything. Like anything that I find funny about opera, I'm going to share it because that's also a way people can be like, oh, my goodness, that's opera, or, wow, when you think about it, they're just real human. They're characters based on human personalities. They sing in a different language, sure, but the storyline is still there and things that we all go through. And, so please follow me on Twitter, like my Facebook page, Bridget Cooper Mezzo Soprano, buy my CD, and the next one will be out in 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to definitely getting that out there to you, and I'm excited about that. And one more little thing, I have, like I said, I love the show, The Hero, and one of the contestants, Lydia Collins, I promised her that I would tweet that name, like that hour of the show. So please, when you watch The Hero this week, tweet Lydia Collins or Baldy Mac. So I promised them I would give them a little, I would definitely mention that. So
give them a little shout out.
Because, we all have to support. Yeah, we all have to support each other,
I agree.
We all have
completely.
to support each other. It can't just be about me and, I'm just going to talk about me. I have tons of people that I support. You've supported me. I've always gotten a very nice Facebook message from you saying, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing awesome. So that encouragement helps. I mean, we all have to really uplift each other. It's so important, especially with people, people are so fragile these days. So,
well, I
knows
agree, and I believe in what you do. I mean, I believe in what you do, who you are. I mean, we can have, a million and one different kind of conversations, or we can have a few, or, the impression that you leave me is exactly that. I mean, every time I'm about to really go there, but every time I hear your voice, it always does something as far as the inspiration and I'm always pretty good. So, let me make sure I do a little bit more extra today because, I talked to Bridget or I heard from her today. Like, I got a text message from her or I got a Facebook message from her today. Let me go ahead and do a little bit more then. Okay. All right.
You are kind. Thank you. So I'm totally blushing, and that's not possible because I don't get embarrassed easily. So thank you.
Well, if I can make you blush and impact you that way on a different level, that's good. That is very good. Well, you got to make sure. Well, what we still have some offline stuff to discuss because we definitely want to see more of you on this station. So we're definitely going to have to talk about that.
Yes.
And also there is there's always, as far as fan base, different kinds of emails and stuff like that I get, real positive, real uplifting emails as far as hey, you guys having Bridget back again. The first time she was on, she was good. So
really?
It's a lot of good vibe and feedback. So we got to make sure that we exchange notes.
I know. Thank you so much, and thanks to your audience for your support and the followers and people who bought the CD since my last interview. So I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate your audience.
It's not every day we do
without you,
we do
this
a lot
would not be possible, right?
Hey, you
know
what? I did, and I appreciate that. But you know what, the staff of people that I have makes it go just as well. I mean, it's always something that you're happy that you started, but it's nice that you can be able to see it evolve, and other people are making it function as well. So, and throw your name in there too, sweetheart. So, it's
Thank
a
you.
good thing, beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Make sure people pick up the CD and make sure that everybody out there just go ahead and support this young lady, and you will be hearing more from her on these stations as well. So, Miss Cooper, it's been fun.
Yes. It has
been
been fun, as always. Yes, yes. And you are doing such a great job as a dad. I always see the pictures, so you're doing a really good job with her.
Oh, see, look at now. You're making me blush, and that's hard to do.
All right, we need to wrap this, okay? We do have to. I've got a rehearsal later. We can do this all afternoon. Yes. Let me pull it together. Goodbye. Gotta go. Let me pull it together.
Well, I love you dearly, sweetheart, and I'll be in touch with you today.
I know.
So you give the little one a kiss for me, and I will talk to you soon, sweetheart. And thank you for
thank you
hanging
for
out
having
with us.
me. Thank your audience. All right.
And
thank you, staff,
you know what?
everybody.
Before I let you go, I did get a question that was out there. They wanted to know the song that we just played. Is there a way that they can be able to listen to it or get it?
Definitely. Definitely. In 2 weeks, we're gonna have it available. The other singer's name, the rap artist, his name is Carlito, and you can follow him on Carlito1. But you can listen to it on my SoundCloud, which is the Mezzo Maven, and you can hear a lot of the other classical tracks as well. So it's the Mezzo Maven, Bri Cooper, and it's on SoundCloud. And if you check my page and scroll down, you'll see it there too.
Got you. It's a beautiful Bri Cooper. Appreciate you, and I will be in touch.
Thank you for listening to the #1 radio station for the people.
Nexxlegacy Radio.